This week, an online video inspires a heated and hilarious discussion about the different roles of men and women in any relationship. And later, a newly divorced mom needs our help navigating the always crazy world of dating apps and the unresponsive men she's matched with so far. Welcome to the talking phase. Hello and welcome to the Talking Phase podcast. My name is Tom and we have an amazing show planned for you today. We've got a crazy video that really got my blood flowing. I should warn everybody, I really do not like the woman in this video at all, so I will probably swear a lot and call her name, so stay tuned for that. She's going to bring up 4 separate topics that we're going to talk about that just really got under my skin. And once we've covered those topics, Pam has chosen a fantastic email to share on the show today. It's going to be so much fun. And, thinking of Pam, how are you?
I am doing great, Tom. Yes, I am looking forward to our trip to France. It is right around the corner. For anybody that doesn't know, you're probably listening to this, and I am actually in France right now. We didn't want to skip an episode, so by the time you hear this, imagine me on the beaches in Nice. You can imagine me with or without clothes, depending on how you feel about that. But we will be there, and I could not be more excited to go.
Will you be smoking a cigarette?
No, I have to draw the line somewhere. I will never be that French.
Welcome to French. I can't do that.
Yes, no cigarettes for me. We went to a concert last week. We saw Styx and Foreigner. It was actually probably one of the best summer concerts that I have been to. And the weather at about 8:00 was 60 degrees in August. So
I know you haven't introduced me yet. I am so jealous though, because Styx and Foreigner are 2 of my favorite bands, and I actually saw them 15 years ago, and it was a great concert. So I'm jealous, Pam. Sorry.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. They probably come to your town too. They're going everywhere. Foreigner said this is their last tour. I think they're in their 70s now. And we bought these tickets really early. We got a great group on. So we got these lawn seats for $25. And
are you ready for this? I'm gonna make sure my camera, you guys can't see me, but
okay.
This is it's the REO Speedwagon, a little wristband I got back when I went to the concert.
I was looking at it, trying to figure out what it is. You guys should jump onto YouTube because, I don't, well, it's gone now. I don't know.
Quick.
I don't really know what that was.
A wristband. It's for when you're rocking. Yeah, you're rocking.
Does it sit on your desk? Is that how you happen to pick it up so quickly?
Pam. Okay. Huh? Well, yes, it does sit in my desk.
Or do you wear it? Do you wear that all the time?
I wear it all day long. Here you go.
They're your favorites.
He mops his brow with it throughout.
And you can see him also. So if you hop onto our YouTube, you will actually be able to see Brian. I just saw his lovely
You didn't see
face.
anything, Pam.
What?
Yeah.
You didn't see a thing.
I saw what I saw. Foreigner, what is your favorite song, Brian?
That's a good one. I know it's very cliche, but I'm a big fan of Can't Stop Loving You. However,
that was great.
Can't Stop Rockin' though is an underappreciated bop. I love Can't Stop Rockin'. There's another song of theirs that is Same Church, Different Pew. I know, one of Tom's favorite expressions of mine. And I can't think of it. It's right up there with Keep On Loving You.
Is it not Jukebox Hero?
Jukebox Hero is good. I just feel that one's one of those songs that you hear on the radio all the time.
But I freaking love. So it was greatest hits by both bands. So it was
who listens to the radio?
Yeah. I don't have a radio, but good for Brian, saving some money on Spotify and things like that. But when he sang Jukebox Hero, he went up onto this this very tall podium that was 100 feet in the sky to play the guitar, and it was absolutely amazing. And so each band did 12 to 15 songs. They co-headlined, and so it was really out of this world. And my son, who's 21, is now buying a ton of vinyls and really, really into records, which is so funny to me how things that from the 80s are now coming back. We used to buy a record. I think we said this in another episode for $10, and he's spending $40. sometimes more on these albums that I had. Like, where did they go? What did my parents do with those albums? I would love to give him those albums. I could have given him Sgt. Pepper. I mean, like, he has a pretty good collection, but like, so he came to the concert and he doesn't really ever go to the concerts, but having him there and my daughter, Nikki, and her boyfriend, Adam, was just perfect weather, perfect bands. That's our last concert for the summer. And yeah, it was amazing. So enough about me and France and music and concerts and good. What's going on with you, my friend Tom? How are you?
I'm doing great. Before I get into anything, since Brian has already chimed in, for those who don't know, Brian is our amazing producer. Brian, do you have anything you want to add other than the
Brian,
fact that
who?
you are like
I
20 years
apologize.
older than you really are?
Yeah, that too. Apologize for derailing the conversation. It was
You
feels like the
didn't.
first time. Feels like the first time, by the way, is one of my
Oh.
all-time favorites of
Feels
theirs.
like
Like the first.
Yeah.
I love that song. Listen, even everybody that was with me that didn't know Foreigner that well or Styx, and I don't think they love Styx as much as Foreigner, but like
I don't love
they were
Styx.
all like, this is a damn concert. They were really excited. So
I'll be that guy. I actually like Styx more than I like Foreigner.
so
Just
listen,
saying.
that's because like they open with Grand Illusion, and like Grand Illusion is just an amazing song. Like,
Oh yeah, Grand Illusion. You have obviously everybody's go-to favorite, "Come Sail Away."
oh god, that was my son's favorite song in the whole concert. He was like, just
All I
Tom's gonna
can
say
think
it's
of-
too cliche, it's overplayed.
No,
I
all I can
love
think
it.
about is that if there was an episode of The Simpsons when Homer died and went to hell, and he was crossing the river Styx, and all they were doing is playing Styx music, and he goes, "Oh my hell, it is hell."
Oh gosh. Well, the 25,000 people that were there at that concert were singing. It was crazy. It was
Good
a
for
great
them.
night.
They're in their 70s, aren't they? And they're getting
Yeah.
25,000 people to a concert. That's cool.
I'm telling you, and we had to walk like a mile from our parking spot because we got there a little late. And I was thinking they are in much better shape than me. So
Well, those 25,000 people masked their disappointment.
oh, stop it. They all paid to be there. We loved it. We had a great time. All right. Now you can tell us about you.
Okay, well, tell me about. So most of everybody, I think, knows what I do for a living nowadays. We sell contact center technology. Brian and I work together. Our job is to actually recruit other people to sell our product, which is kind of fun, and then we pay them a commission. And one of the best parts of my job is that every once in a while, and by that I mean like every week or two, I have to wine and dine these guys and kind of have a little fun. And so just this week, and if you're on YouTube, you can see this picture. This was a
it's so
couple of nights
cute.
ago. There were 8 or 10 of us or whatever. We got together. We went to a indoor golf simulator place at X Golf in Alpharetta. It was so much fun. I have not touched a golf club in 10 years because I think golf is stupid. But I went over, hit a ball a little while. And I actually had the longest drive of the night, which was 242 yards. I don't even know if that's a great drive, to be honest with you, but no one else could beat me for like 3 hours until like 5 minutes before we left. One of the guys went over and just crushed this 274-yard drive right down the middle. And I was all proud of myself. And I still am, actually, because I don't think I've ever hit a ball 100 yards, and I'm getting 242 yards. If you're on YouTube, maybe you can see I've got a
I was
little.
just gonna say, show your left hand.
Yeah, so there's like I don't know if you
see
call that a
that.
bruise, or I don't know what it is, to be honest. It's almost like a blister from hitting the ball. And clearly I'm holding the club wrong.
Oh, well.
But whatever. I probably won't touch a club for another 5 years or something. I don't know.
It's worth
Anyway.
the scars sometimes.
Yeah, no, we had a great time. You just go, it's a bunch of guys and a bunch of people hanging out, drinking and just having fun. So anyway.
It sounds like fun. And they can see how cute you looked if they go to YouTube and check out that picture.
And you can see my busted up hand. And Brian hasn't even heard this yet, but right before we started recording, I found out that Brian and I are probably going to have to go to Florida in October for the ICMI show, right? I know it'll be fun.
When in October is that?
I don't know. Can't remember. 21st, I think.
It would be really ironic if we were both in Florida at the same time.
When are you going?
I don't know. I think we're going the 18th through the 21st.
Oh,
It's
we
like
might pass.
It's like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday trip.
You're going to be way further down on the Florida, the penis that is Florida. down in
Well,
Miami.
we're going to Miami.
Yeah, so you're right at the tip of the penis. We're going to be towards the base in Orlando.
Well,
Or that's
Orlando's a lot of fun, but Taylor
more like
Swift
the
is not going to
shaft.
be there. And so,
Yeah.
in our quest and our determination to get those Taylor Swift tickets for October, we will be in Miami, whether we are at that show or not.
Right.
So,
You just want to be near her.
well, we're hoping that somebody will last minute get sick and just be really kind and want to like sell their tickets for what they paid for them. We get a couple tickets for like $500.
Well, I wish you the best.
But listen, I'm from Miami. I grew up there. So for me, it's a chance to take Nikki, my now 30-year-old daughter, down to Miami and show her where I grew up and go to the beach at Key Biscayne and go to Coconut Grove and all the favorite places from when I was in high school. And so she's never been old enough to see those things, even though we were an hour away when she was like 13 before we moved here. So I'm looking at it as an amazing 4 days that I get to spend with Nikki, showing her my roots. And then if Taylor Swift works out, then that's the cherry on top. And if it doesn't work out, then I'll have more money in the bank.
Well, exactly. That's a great way to look at it. Well, what do you think? Should we jump into what we're going to talk about today?
Let's dive right in.
All right. So, as I said in the little intro, I saw a video. I'm going to ask Brian to play it here in just a minute. I saw this video online the other day, and I'm sure it's on all sorts of platforms. I happened to see it on TikTok, and it confused me. And I'm not going to lie, it pissed me off. So it's only a minute or so long. I want to listen to it. So everybody out there, kind of pay attention. We're going to review it, of course, but go ahead and play that, Brian.
So there's a few things that I don't do as a married woman. Number one, I do not cook for my husband. I only cook for my children. My husband will be making his own breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Number two, I do not help him pay any bills. So if he is short on the rent, on utilities, or anything like that, it is not my problem. I will not be helping him out. His job is to provide for his family. So I am not financially contributing to any of the bills. Number three, I do not do his laundry. I have my own laundry and my children's laundry to do, so he could do his own. I won't help him put it away. I won't help him fold anything. That's his responsibility. Number four, he is responsible for replacing any of his essentials like soap, shampoo, anything like that. He needs to go buy it himself. Even if I'm at the store, I will not be replacing it for him. If he needs new underwear, new socks, or anything like that, that's for him to do. I'm not going to do it for him. I'm not going to enable a perfectly grown-ass adult because then they get used to that shit. So, no.
Okay, Brian, will you put that back up just for 1 second? There are a couple of things I want to point about the visuals. So those who are just listening, you can't see this, but if you go to YouTube, you'll notice, I don't know what the hell her deal is. She's actually sitting like in her driveway underneath the bumper of her car. What the hell is going on with just the camera angle?
Well, clearly that's where she gets the best light because she's such a good person.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So
or
that's
she's hiding from her husband because she doesn't want him to know that she makes these videos.
Yeah, maybe. But doesn't that just piss you off?
Well, it doesn't piss me off so much because as a woman, I think that listening to her rant about those things, I actually just found myself laughing while I was watching it because I went and I read a lot of the comments that people had left for her. And I was shocked by well, I guess I shouldn't be shocked. So many women were like, yeah, men don't need maids. They don't need cooks. They don't need a personal shopper. Like there were so many women that were on her side, but the men, they were the funniest. They were, the overall feeling was that she's never going to make a man happy, but clearly she's married. So somebody is willing to stay married to her. So I wasn't angry because it wasn't directed at me. It was directed at men, but I thought it was the most ridiculous thing I had ever heard somebody say out loud on any platform.
Yeah. Well, so look, we're going to talk about each of the four things that she brought up, but I want to talk about some things that we need to get out in the open and stipulate before I start railing on this woman.
Okay.
The first one is we need to stipulate that we don't know a few things. Like, for example, we don't know if she's a stay-at-home mom or a working mom. So, one of the things she said is she's not going to help him financially. Okay, well, maybe she can't. She might be a stay-at-home mom. So, I mean, I don't know that. We don't know
Right.
how many kids they have or how old they are. No, I don't know if any of this would make a difference to how I feel anyway, but we don't know how long they've been married. And quite frankly, and this is when I start into my, I don't like her at all. I don't know what childhood trauma caused her to be such a bitch. So
I- You
what?
just assume it was nature over nurture. Maybe this is how her mom was, and
Well,
maybe
there's the
she's just
childhood trauma.
well, but maybe she doesn't view it as trauma. Maybe she grew up in a home where this is how things went, and her parents were extremely happy, and her mom was extremely happy, and she has just decided to follow in her footsteps.
Fuck that. Okay, so let's talk about each of these things for a minute, and I'll explain why it bothers me so much.
Okay.
And I can guarantee you, if either of my ex-wives came on this program and talked about my willingness to cook and clean and stuff like that, they would agree I was beyond helpful. So this is not me going, women should be my maid or my cook. Okay.
No, I'm sure.
But the fact that she won't cook for her husband, even if she's already cooking, is complete and utter bullshit. That she literally has to go to an extra effort to not cook for him.
Yeah.
In that case.
I'll take 4 pork chops, but not 5 because he ain't
Right.
getting one.
Yeah. And by the way, and if I happen to buy 5 pork chops
One
and I
goes to the
have to,
dog.
and I cook 4 of them, that means I had to wrap up the 5th one so that
Or
he
get-
could cook it himself.
Right. Yeah. I mean, she's definitely trying to send a message to women, but she went so super hard that instead of just saying something like, it should be equal or men should not have expectations, we should do that because we want to do that. Like there were so many ways to attack this subject without going quite so hard into the preposterous territory of, I go to the store and if he needs some body wash, he ain't
Oh,
getting
we're
none.
not there
So,
yet. We're still talking about just cooking.
oh, right. Well, I mean, it doesn't even matter. There was no section, but yes, when it comes to cooking, I often will cook for myself and not the other people in the house. I'm just kidding. I don't do that. But I mean, I
Well,
would
you
think,
probably do because you all lead separate lives.
yeah, but I always make enough for whoever is going to be home. I've never lived my life like that. So to me, listening to somebody talk like that, I mean, kudos to her for finding a man who was willing to get absolutely nothing from a relationship. I mean, she didn't talk about how good their sex life is, but it must be so good
No
because,
chance.
well, she's probably not a giver in the bedroom either.
No.
If he wants an orgasm, he's going to have to get it himself.
Exactly. And by the way, if I give him one, that's enabling him. That's the word she used. I'm not going to
Yes.
enable that shit. It's like,
Yes.
what?
Yes. Maybe they have separate bedrooms. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
like clearly we're not on different sides of this. I do believe in, not having a specific gender role in a relationship. I was married for a long time and I was terrible at laundry. So he didn't do my laundry just because he was really good at laundry. He did his own laundry and
Pam, you keep
folded it,
skipping
and it was
ahead.
perfect.
We
So
haven't talked about laundry yet.
oh, sorry. I keep jumping the gun. My head is so full of this topic and of the fact that that she brings nothing to the table.
She brings nothing to the table. Let's move on to financial. Because
Okay.
that's the one that was also, it's just like, what in the hell? I just love how she said it's his job to support his family. That's his job. So he
Like the
has a
50s.
job.
Like the
What
50s.
what if he came around and said, okay, all right, I'll provide for my kids, but not for you?
That's part of his job is providing for her in her.
Well, then isn't her part of her job to do something for him?
Yeah, she brings nothing. Like she has all of the expectations of every 50s housewife, but doesn't bring anything to the table for him. So, when it comes to gender and not to just talk about her because she is a very unique individual.
Also known as a bitch.
Well, in our opinion, of course, but somebody's married to her. Or maybe not. Maybe she's single and she makes these videos just to antagonize people. When I said she went too hard, that was my first thought is like, you know, she's going to get a ton of people commenting on this video. And I of course, read a lot of those comments, and here we are discussing it. So maybe that was her goal, but she brings up a lot of good topics, which is who is responsible for making the meals. Like, we're not in the 50s anymore, or who is responsible for, you know, all of these other things.
Well, in my mind, the person who's responsible is the person who can get to it. And that's why, you know, when I was married, you know, I'd get home with the kids and we'd start cooking dinner. And usually about halfway through dinner is when Trinity would get home, and she would, you know, go upstairs, you know, freshen up, do whatever she was doing, of course, which means taking off all the makeup.
I knew that's where you were going.
Yeah. And, you know, basically putting on the burnt cookies and then coming downstairs and, you know, usually helping for a few minutes before we finish, but I would get things started. Can you imagine? I mean, just think about that scenario. I get home with the kids and cook dinner, and we sit down with the kids, and then she gets home after a hard day, and I say, well, good luck. Hope you like Cheerios, or, you know, whatever.
Or we just ate.
Yeah, we just ate.
There's nothing for it. Whoops, sorry, we don't have anything left.
Yeah. That just the whole idea that she thinks it's okay. And again, I do wonder how she would feel if her husband had literally that exact same attitude about everything. The financial thing was so stupid. Again,
well, let's talk about, are we going into finances? Do you want to go into finances?
Sure.
Because, you know, that's probably what I felt was the hottest topic that she hit on. Like, you know, if he's okay making his own meals and doing his own laundry, you know, and going to the store to buy everything that he needs, even though he's working, like, you know, she has found a perfect welcoming doormat to spend her life with. But, you know, I did think about what she was talking about when it comes to financial support, you know, how much things have changed between that era that she is talking about, the 50s, where wives didn't work and didn't help and didn't do anything. And here we are in 2024. And I think that most households are dual income. I don't think that most people are making it on one income anymore. So I don't, you know, we said we don't know if she works or not, but taking her out of the equation, how do you feel about, you know, I know you were married for a long time. I was married for a long time. Did she split the bills? Did you pay all the bills? Were there two separate accounts? What do you think is the way to go in relationships when it comes to the finances?
I think it's a little different at different age groups. When I got married, I was in my 20s, and, you know, we were both making about 12 cents an hour. And so it was put all that 24 cents an hour into the bank and hope that there's enough.
Yeah, I've been there.
And that was the early times. When I remarried, you know, 10 or 11, 12 years later, she initially said, I want to keep our finances separate. And so it was going to be her account, my account, and then a joint account for the joint bills. And then we would both
was she making more money than you?
No.
Okay.
But her first husband, she did make more than her first husband. So I'm sure that's where that came from.
That's what I assumed.
And that lasted about 6 months. And it was just like, this is stupid. Why are we doing it this way? Because we're like doing percentages, and it's like, well, the mortgage is X and I make 60% and you make 40%. So I have to pay 60% of the mortgage. And it was just a spreadsheet exercise that just seemed dumb. And so we didn't do it for very long. Now, if I'm ever with someone or remarried, which I doubt will ever happen, but if I'm ever with someone,
hearts breaking everywhere.
No, I said remarried. I meant about the remarried part. I want to be with someone. I just don't want to get married again.
I was talking about the married part. I was kidding though.
Okay.
I don't want to get married again either. So I was clearly.
Yeah, but if I'm ever with someone, I think we have to, I'm in my 50s. I don't want to, I'm not going to do we have to have a joint checking account, or you don't, none of that. So anyway, that's my answer. It depends.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I think that a lot of people who are listening to the podcast probably are in situations where they're either dating or getting ready to live with somebody, or thinking about getting remarried, or cohabitating. And you know, it's a topic. I think it's probably a hot topic. And I know that my daughter, you know, makes X amount of dollars and her boyfriend makes X amount of dollars. And so I think that a lot of people that I've talked to think that like the best way to do that is, you know, you look at how much the paycheck is, and then that's your percentage of the bills. And, you know, it seems like the most fair way to go. And I guess that's, I can see that, especially when you're young and you're just starting out in life, and you know, you plan to get married and have kids, and you both want to have spending money. You don't want somebody to, you know, tell you what you can and can't buy, or where you can go, or any of that. As somebody who has recently turned 57 and has been single for 5 years, I think that I'm a big fan of, you know, people coming into a situation, and if you're living with somebody, you just find what's fair. I mean, people are coming from very fragmented places where they're married, they're divorced. I don't think it matters who makes more money, who makes less money. I think it's just much easier to sit down and have a mature conversation and figure out what's fair and what both people can afford. And, you know, I'm not talking about her video because I think she's a dick and I don't really care. But I do think that topics like finances and maybe even household chores are something that people aren't talking about before they live together or get married. And they should be. All of these things that she brought up that we hate are still great conversation topics that people in relationships should be discussing.
Couldn't agree more. So let's
Okay.
talk about the next one then.
Okay.
We got the financial stuff, which again, that, you know, we could have had like 5 episodes just about finances in relationships.
And maybe we should have more, because I do think that people are really, you know, confused, like in your 50s.
Yeah.
You know, they don't know what you're supposed to do, especially if you're not getting married again.
Yeah. Well, thinking about the laundry one, that one doesn't bother me nearly as much. In fact, it doesn't really bother me at all. What bothers me is her flat out refusal to do it. That's the part that bothers me.
Right.
But in both of my marriages, I did virtually 100% of my own laundry, unless I called and said, "Hey, could you do me a favor and just switch the laundry for me," or something like that. But
throw
I
it in the dryer.
Yeah, I did virtually 100% of my own laundry and at least 20 or 30% of hers. So I don't really have a problem if someone isn't willing, you know, isn't going to do my laundry, because I don't expect that. But the fact that she just flat out refuses so much just drove me crazy. And by the way, the reason that I only did 20% of my ex-wife's laundry, because I'm more than willing to do it. I don't have a problem with laundry. It's that, and maybe this is a standard thing for women. You'll have to tell me, Pam. I buy clothes because I know that if I sort them by color, that's all I have to worry about. But women, at least the women I've been with, tend to have, first you have to do it by color, then you have to do it by fabric, and some things are cold, some things are warm, some things are delicate, some things are permanent press, and all this other shit. And I'm like, I know that I will screw this up, so it's just smarter and safer for me to not even try.
Well, Tom, if you want to do my laundry, you will not have any issues, because I don't even sort by color unless something's brand new and it's going to bleed onto other colors. I don't even know how people separate by fabric. If I buy something expensive and I'm super nervous, I'll take it to the dry cleaner or I'll use the dry L bags. But for the most part, it just all goes in.
But
it all goes in.
Do you have those special items in a separate place?
Or
do you just know that
like,
should be a dry L bag?
If I wear something and I know that I like it enough that I don't want to risk it, I'll like throw it up on the top shelf in my closet. And when I have 5 items in there, I'll throw it in the dry L bag.
Okay. Okay.
I am very low maintenance. I don't buy things that need special attention unless it's for like a dress. I have like a whole closet dedicated to more dressy things that I spent more money on. And those are things that I take to the dry cleaner when I wear them once a year.
Okay. That makes
I probably only wear one of them once a year.
Well,
like when we go to France.
As long as you have like a separate place for it. But if you've got just your basic clothes hamper and everything you own that needs to be cleaned, whether it's dry cleaned or not, goes in this hamper, that's where I would be like, oh shit. Because she gets through everything.
I like to do my own laundry. my ex, like I was saying, never wanted me to do his laundry because he said I did such a shitty job. And he kept saying, I tried to teach you how to fold these the way that I want you to fold them, and you're not getting it. And when I think back on that, I probably wasn't getting it on purpose
Right.
because it was, like just
Hey, let me
do it.
practice to get more work.
He complained about me not doing his laundry our entire marriage, and I was just thrilled that I didn't have to do his laundry because I
Sure.
was never good enough at it. And I feel like if you're going to criticize somebody for not being good enough at it, then do it yourself. I'm always willing to do more to make somebody's life easier, but like if you don't like my cooking, don't ask me to cook. If you don't like the way I do your laundry, don't ask me to do your laundry. Like
Yep.
and I feel the same way for if I have a partner, like it just go that's kind of the moral here, isn't it? It goes both ways. Like it's a compromise. It's a partnership. There might be shit that somebody hates to do and they do it just because they love you and they want to make your life easier. This woman, if she calls that love, is not any kind of love that I have felt. But
and that's the part about it is it's partnership means that you help each other, you take care of each other, you do things for each other. Rather than making a video with how many hundreds of thousands of views on it, exclaiming why you won't do it for the person you supposedly love.
Right.
So like the shopping thing at the end where she said, I won't replace his stuff, like his soap or his underwear. I'm like, so if you're walking down the aisle at Target and you're buying soap for yourself, you're not just going to pick up a bottle of shower gel for your husband if he needs it?
Sure, if I can find it on sale.
Not you,
I'm
her.
kidding.
She refuses because she's not going to enable this shit. That's her word. I won't enable that shit.
Well, I'd almost rather talk about me and your opinions than like her opinions were so startling and in such contrast to any healthy relationship that hopefully anybody that's listening to this is shaking their head and saying like, yes, I'm going to sit down and talk about finances. Yes, I'm going to help him if he needs help or help her and wants a partnership and doesn't want. This sounds a lot like a dictatorship.
Yeah, but you read the comments.
Yeah. And
women agreed.
So guys, if we have any male listeners out there, make sure to sit down with these women before you move in and make sure that you're not getting one like this. And if you are getting one like this, then
I'm sitting here struggling to see and understand what contribution she makes. She's to the partnership.
I do think that in her mind, her contribution is raising and caring for the children.
So she's a nanny. That's all she is.
They need to go back and listen to our priorities episode from way back in the beginning to hear how Tom really feels about what should be most important and how that looks. And they should go back and listen to some of our prior episodes. This woman is ripe for the
divorce.
Head.
Yeah, she someone needs to. Yeah, and again. I'm not this guy saying there's men's work and women's work. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that this person has made it so clear that she's not a partner.
Right.
She is a wife in name only. Other than that, all she is a baby machine and a nanny. And she's the one who's put herself there. Because she's not contributing financially. She's not contributing to the household chores. She's not contributing to helping her husband do anything other than make babies.
No, she's a bad example for a partner.
Right. And so
she's like a cautionary tale of what to avoid.
Right. So all of our female listeners, if you agree with her, more like
if you agree with her and you're dating somebody, make sure you tell them up front because I mean, like, I assume that most women who enter into a relationship thinking that they are the queen and that the man that they're marrying is going to be at their feet doing whatever they need them to do, I think that those women are going to wind up divorced very quickly. And a lot of people in the comments felt that also, that she doesn't, I don't know, male, female, and you can't really tell who's writing the comments, but she replied to a lot of those comments and was very clear that she stands firmly on what she's willing to and not willing to do. And so a true cautionary tale, they can rewind this episode and listen to her 4 things again and just make sure that you are the opposite of this human being or you shouldn't be in a relationship.
Yeah, because I mean, if you take it to the extreme, which clearly she likes to do, and so do I, Do they have separate garbage can for her and the kids? And he has to take out his own garbage?
I don't know, but like I think the best thing to come from her video is probably our podcast and the fact that people are realizing that they need to have conversations with the person that they're going to live with. Because if you're not living with somebody, these things are moot. You're doing all of those things for yourself aside from having kids with them. You're taking care of yourself. That for 5 years, I've taken care of nobody but myself and my kids. And I don't really have to take care of my kids. They're adults. I care for them. I do make them something to eat if I'm making something to eat and so on. But, herein lies a lesson in how not to have a successful relationship. And yeah, maybe she has one, or maybe she's single and she's full of shit. I don't really know. But like, her video is a cautionary tale to both men and women that if you want to be happy and stay happy, you need to find somebody who's going to be a good partner. And the only way you can do that is by talking to them before you move in with them. Make sure that you can meet each other's expectations.
And if you see your wife sitting at the end of the driveway underneath the car making a video,
ask her what the fuck she's doing.
Yeah, exactly. So with that said, just before we get into our next section here, since only one of our dynamic trio here is married, Brian, what kind of roles have you and your wife figured out?
I think we really came to the realization, and I think most couples do this, and if I'm wrong, tell me, but I think there are very obvious, and pardon the expression, but gender roles of things that my wife just does better inherently, and those tend to be more of the homemaking roles. And then there are things that I just do inherently better, which is more of the physical stuff, like going out and lifting up heavy objects and moving big things and stuff like that, right? Like there is a very different role for each of the sexes. And my wife and I very much just kind of figured that out on our own. And it's not a matter of like one person's doing more than the other. It's just we're doing different things. And with that, we're doing where we add the most value, right? So like, I know I can do laundry. I can do laundry all day long, and I'll do laundry all day long. I really can't fuck that up. But like, if it came down to, I don't know, like I'll give you a real life example. My wife is super focused on making sure that when the bathrooms are cleaned, they are cleaned in a specific way. She's got like 30 different things on her checklist, and they all got to be checked through. Now, I could clean the bathroom, but I know for a fact she will come back in and she will nuke it right after I'm done because it wasn't done the right way. And that's okay. Just like if I were to go out and mow the lawn versus if she were to go mow the lawn, I'm sure that she would probably do some stuff in a way that I didn't like. It's little things like that where instead of letting it bother you and then consume you, like who's doing more, who's contributing more value, like instead just break it down to where can we really do the most with the most value, but also based on what we're most comfortable doing and where we're good at it, right? So I think for me, that's been the biggest thing for us, has been able to really sit down, figure that out. And then obviously having my daughter really just added to that equation because my wife then transitioned to a stay-at-home mom for a little bit. So, adding in a lot of those roles and responsibilities. And then as a dad, things I had to now take on my plate that weren't in my purview before. So it's a lot of learning. It's a lot of communicating, as we've talked about in the past. But I think it's also just kind of knowing your role, knowing your lane, and being comfortable in saying like, hey, I'm really good at X, Y, and Z. Let me do this. You're really good at doing this, and you focus on that. It's not a matter of one being better than the other. It's just that we're different.
Yeah.
I'm not really that good at anything.
Pam, you're great at podcasting. What are you talking about?
Apparently.
I'm great at what?
I said you're good at podcasting. What are you talking about?
I'm really good at planning things. Like I'm a great planner of what plays, concerts, movies, dinners, things like that. But like everything else, I never consider myself really good. I'm never really good at cleaning or really good at mowing the yard. My ex-husband, if he was listening to this podcast, he'd be sitting there saying, that girl ain't good at nothing.
Especially laundry.
Well, I think I'm fine at those things. And I think that the moral of this podcast is to love your partner and try to make their life easier and not harder. And honestly, I feel like if you do that, things just kind of work out. Like I just think you need to love and respect somebody in order to be in a good relationship. And clearly that's what Brian does. And maybe I didn't do, which is why I'm divorced. And I don't know about you, Tom, but
Obviously not good enough.
we'll
So,
we'll do better next
yeah,
time.
exactly. Well, I
Wait,
think we should move on because
I was
I think,
gonna say, I thought
yes,
I heard something. Come in.
You've got
there
mail.
it is.
I have a crystal ball. I heard
Yeah.
it. Amen.
You
All
should
right.
hear things before they happen. Amazing.
Yeah.
Radar.
So watch out. I can hear what you're thinking. All right. Dear Pam and Tom, I'm doing a lot of swiping these days in an effort to meet someone. I'm
Nope,
divorced
wrong way
3
to do
years.
it.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, I'm not swiping right now. I'm divorced 3 years. My kids are grown, and I really want to share my life with someone again. I see a lot of men that seem nice on dating apps. How does she do that?
They
I
seem
always
nice.
They seem nice, I always read the profile, and if we seem like a good match, I get excited to meet them. I remember those days, getting
Yeah.
excited to meet somebody. I have been chatting on the apps for weeks with a few of the men I really want to meet, but the conversation is slow and nobody has asked me to get together.
Oh,
Is this
gosh.
normal for dating apps? They seemed interested, but then they don't reply for hours or sometimes days. If they wanted to, they would. That's my saying. They
Yep.
ask a lot of questions and almost always say that I'm pretty, so I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm new to all of this. Am I supposed to be asking them to get together? Signed, whose job is it anyway? Oh, my heart bleeds for this one.
Yeah. So first off, I learned the fact that they're calling her pretty. I learned in one of my experiences that that's the wrong thing. You're never
No,
supposed
it's
to compliment
not.
a woman. No, that was just, and for those who haven't seen those videos, I told a story about I met a lady. I told her she was pretty, and she said, "Don't you ever tell me that again."
You
And
found every weirdo out there.
yeah, she even said that she said, "I don't know where men got the mistaken impression that women like to be told they're pretty." And I'm like, how about every woman I've ever met except for you?
Yeah, she's a strange one, and I don't think that she's the norm. I think that the fact that men are telling her pretty is great because they don't have to say anything about your looks.
Yeah.
They can just make conversation. I'm no fan of dating apps.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
reading this email, she said, "Is this normal with dating apps?" I think the first thing that whose job is it anyway needs to recognize is that there's never anything normal with dating apps.
Right.
There's
Welcome to
nothing that you can count
2024.
on. There's nothing you can expect. There's nothing you can say, this happens, then this happened. The one thing that's a constant is you got to kiss a lot of frogs.
Yeah.
To find your prince. Unfortunately, you have to swipe. She said she's been swiping for a long time. Well, if you're doing the dating app route, guess what? You just got to keep on swiping. It's a numbers game, whether you like it or not.
If you haven't run out of people to swipe on, then you're doing it wrong. And that's I'll say that to anybody. Like when I was on dating apps, like I was constantly out of new people on Bumble. On Hinge, yeah, I was constantly out of new people on that. And I attribute that to the fact that I am very picky. Again, you can go back to one of our previous episodes where we talk about lowering your standards. And I never, ever lowered my standards. So I had to get off dating apps. And I understand that this is the first course of getting out there after a divorce, but she's been single for 3 years. And if she's been on dating apps for a long time, and I don't recall if she said that she's been on them, I'm guessing that she has been on them for the whole time. I am here to tell you, do not feel bad about the fact that they're not asking you out. I had written on my profile, no pen pals, because the amount of men that I would have conversations that I felt were good that never asked me to get together. And I was of the school that like, I'm not going to ask them out. Like we're sitting here having a conversation. We've swiped right. We seem to have a lot in common. If they wanted to, they would. And maybe that doesn't make me forward enough. I have told people that sometimes they need to make the first move, but I'm not a believer in it. I feel like it starts things off for me on the wrong foot. If I have to ask you to get together and then we get together, like, I don't know, that just doesn't feel good to me because I guess I'm a little old school. I am 57, so like barely Gen X, maybe like a few years outside of being a boomer. And yeah, I just feel like if they're not asking, then they're probably not interested. So just keep swiping until somebody you like does ask.
Yeah. Well, one of the other things she said is she always reads the profiles, and that's awesome. I actually do that too. Well, did that. when I was dating on dating apps. But one thing I hope she recognizes, and like you said, we don't know how long she's been swiping, but you know that most of the crap on their profile is bullshit, right?
Well, how do you know that? How do
What?
you know that? My profile was honest.
Oh, I understand. I said most.
Okay.
The bottom line is that I know from my own experience that most women lie on their dating profiles. So I assume that
Shame.
most men lie on their dating profiles.
Well,
Not
the
not all
biggest
women and
lie.
not all men.
The biggest lie they might be telling is it's possible they're in a relationship and they're just bored. And so
Exactly.
they're talking to you because it makes them feel good. It makes their self-esteem feel good. And then they go and they get in bed with their girlfriend or their wife. I think that we have talked about that in another episode. Also, Ashley Madison said that 67% of all men are cheating. I don't know why of course, they only did men because their site was designed for men. But if 67% of all men are cheating, where do you think they're doing it? Probably on Tinder.
And by the way, they're cheating with women.
Yes, but the women could be single and the men could be married.
Okay, that's true.
So, but yes, of course, women cheat also. But since his letter's from a woman, I don't want her to feel badly because they're not asking her out. I would say that 75% of the men that I talked to, that I chatted with on a dating app, never asked me out, and they just fell to the bottom. And I started to make sure that they were real people by saying right away, after like a really good text conversation, I'd say, hey, do you want to talk on the phone? Because you can tell a lot about somebody on the phone. And if they won't talk to you on the phone, if a man will not talk to a woman on the phone, something's up with that.
Well, and vice versa. If a woman won't talk to a man, it's the same thing. But the thing that I would ask about this from what did she say her name was? Whose job is it anyway?
Yeah.
Like you said, if they don't reply, they're either married or they're just not that into you. I mean, that's married or in a relationship. And so you still have to start saying, okay, let's assume they're not married. Okay, let's just go on that assumption for a minute.
Okay.
And so why are they not into you? Have you posted some shitty pics? I mean, Pam, I've shared with you over the years, I've got a collection of several hundred funny pics from different dating apps where it's like, seriously, this is the picture she put out there as the one hoping to find a date.
And he's not insulting their looks.
No,
they are like very, very funny pictures, like the places that they took them, the expression on their face, what they're wearing. I mean, they are.
One of them that I remember, ironically, I remember the lady's name. Her name was Pam. Her dating profile picture was a giant uprooted tree.
I saw that one you showed me. Yes.
And it's like, what the hell are you thinking? And so, they say that she clearly said she'd posted pictures because they said that they called her pretty.
Right.
So, okay. So maybe she doesn't post bad pics. Maybe her pics are, I mean, you've seen some of those other pictures I've shared with you where it's like, why is she jumping?
Yeah.
And why is she wearing that? And why does she have face paint on?
I think and this is kind of for everybody out there. I think that you can get lucky on a dating app. Some people I know are in relationships with somebody that they met on a dating app and it's going great. But for the vast majority, I don't think anybody's taking dating apps very seriously anymore. And I think they're just putting whatever they want up on that dating profile. You don't even know if it's a picture of the person you're talking to unless they're verified. If they're verified, 100% better chance that at least even if it's a really old picture, you can still get verified, because I don't know how it scans your face, but it does. But honestly, just don't be hard on yourself. If you want to ask them out, ask them out. If they say no, then they were never interested. At least you stop wasting your time chatting with them.
Yeah. Well, I would say do a little review of your dating profile too, because, if your pictures are stupid, what's the equivalent of a fish pic,
Yeah. Of a man holding a fish, probably. I don't know because I don't see women's profiles.
If your pictures are stupid, even if they're pretty pictures, if they're stupid pictures. The other thing, by the way, I think I've mentioned this before. My biggest pet peeve on a dating app for a woman, and I don't know if men do this. Again, I don't look at men's profile pictures, so this is not me being a jerk to women. It's just I don't know what women go through. When a woman has like 5 dating profile pics up there, and they're all group pictures.
Oh, that's terrible. Men do
And so
that.
you have to sit there and go, wait a minute. So this person is in all 5 pictures. It takes you 20 minutes to figure out which person you're actually supposed to be talking to. Stop doing group photos.
Hey, listen, also, if you have 5 pictures up and you look and you're by yourself, but you look like a different person in all 5 pictures, stop fucking with us. Like, just put up pictures from this year. I understand that you want to put one up from high school so we can see how great you looked and how much hair you had and how thin you were, but we don't care.
Yeah.
All we want to see is what you look like today.
I think that dating apps, by the way, I think they should eliminate the ability to upload pictures, and they should force the pictures to be taken in the app, and they have to be replaced every 90 days, maybe 180 days.
I don't know why nobody's doing that, because it would probably put dating apps out of business.
Right. But that's the kind of dating app I would like to be.
Maybe we need to
involved with.
start it.
No, thanks.
No, we'll call it
I
talking
just
phase.
got out of the divorce business, so I don't want to get into the dating business.
No talking phase dating app. Sorry, guys. But,
Okay.
another way to make sure that you're talking to the person that you think you're talking to and that they really do like you is FaceTiming. I mean, I guess if you can't get them to have a phone call, you're going to have a really hard time getting a FaceTime. But like, if you do a FaceTime, then at least you know exactly who you're talking to, and they do too. I think that what Tom said about like your pictures, having something wrong with your pictures, is not the case in this scenario, because they're talking to you. They're saying you're pretty, So at the end of the day, it's probably more them than it is you. And I don't know if we helped or not, but we try to solve dating every day that we can. Maybe we'll do a whole dating app.
But we did talk
episode.
about roles in relationships.
Yeah.
The role is no longer that the man has to ask you out. So if
I
you want
know.
to go out with someone, ask them the hell out. Go.
Right. It's the quickest way to go from 0 to 60 or 0 to done.
Yep.
All right. Well, with that said, thank you so much for sending us your emails. If you have something you'd like us to help with, or at least talk about, the email is talkingphase@gmail.com. talkingphase@gmail.com. Send them over. I will read all of them. I will forward the ones that I think are great for the show to Tom. We will have some fodder about what we're going to tell you, maybe, or we just go in blind like today. But please send them over. We would love to get them. Again, it's talkingphase@gmail.com. And I'll look forward to reading those real soon.
Awesome. Thanks everybody out there for listening or watching. As we always ask, please take a minute to rate and review, especially if you like what you're hearing. Give us 5 stars. And if you write a review, it doesn't have to be much, just a couple of words. Maybe tell us that you think that lady in the TikTok that I mentioned earlier is a total bitch. Maybe talk about the roles in your relationship. That'd be cool to hear. Make sure you share what we're doing with your friends and family so that we can have more people listen in. We do this every single Friday, even when Pam is in France.
Yes.
New episodes every Friday morning at 8 a.m. Be sure to follow us on TikTok at Talking Phase Podcast, also Facebook and Instagram. And so with that, Pam, we're signing off. How do you say that in French? I don't know. I speak Spanish. So
bonjour is hello.
Yeah.
Is it also goodbye?
I think it's goodbye too. Yeah, whatever.
I'll work on that.
Goodbye in French. We're signing off.
All right. I'll get it for next time.
Okay. Signing off, everyone.
Have a great day, week, month, year, lifetime. See you real soon.